For the last 5 days, I've been meditating and fasting in the mountains with a Tibetan Buddhist Lama.
Yo soy Lama Dorje.
It was like opening up Pandora's box of my mind. It's like one of the most profound shifts of my life. As someone who was born Greek Orthodox but grew up as an agnostic surrounded by materialism, this is not really a place I expected myself to end up. I did not know much about Buddhism until this, and I just jumped into this full disciplinary practice. I was in a period of my life where I was seeking these deeper answers. I didn't want to just live a surface level life anymore. I couldn't deny anymore that I was going through a spiritual awakening, but I didn't know what direction that awakening would go. And I was especially curious about what I could learn from a longer term meditative experience. Today is a story about having the courage to go inward and face our own minds amidst an era with so much noise and controversy. I want to share how this profoundly transformational experience was able to bring me closer to myself than I ever had felt before. These are some of the first words I've said in 5 days. Regardless of your beliefs, I really think meditation can change the world. After feeling burnt out and incredibly disconnected from my authentic self in Western hustle culture, I quit my 9-to-5 to have a travel gap year in the hopes of finding myself and building a more heart-centered life. On my travels, I met Lama Dorje. He grew up in the mountains of Tibet, studying Buddhism for his whole life. Eventually, he left Tibet to go to Latin America, and now he's building a World Peace Center in Costa Rica. I met him at a day event and was captivated by his wisdom and his energy, and I really wanted to know more about what he was all about. He invited me to come to this silent meditation retreat that he would be hosting in the mountains. I'm walking down to the river now and you can hear it. It's so loud. I really don't know what is going to come out of this. I'm actually really scared being in silence with your own mind for that long. You've got no choice but to look at yourself. I don't know if I'm going to like what I find because there's places inside of me that I've buried or hidden because I don't want to face them. But I'm also excited for the possibility of moving into a period of my life that I'm so consumed with joy and gratitude, because I'm not playing those negative patterns in my mind anymore that keep me trapped in sadness or scarcity. I thought the journey would be simple, but we kind of got stuck in the mountains for a bit. Oh my goodness, what? We thought we would be able to take the bus right to the retreat center, or at least close enough that we could walk. But since it was the mountains, what looked like a short distance on Google Maps would have been a couple hours up the mountain. We couldn't call a taxi because we were so far in the middle of nowhere. We ended up trying something. I went out into the middle of the road and hitchhiked a truck. And it worked. Our driver, she said, "Where are you going?" And we said, "For the Lama Dorje meditation retreat." And she says, "You're joking." I almost signed up for that retreat and I got too scared and I dropped out. By the end of the car ride, she decided that this must be a sign from the universe that she was supposed to be on this retreat as well. So she found out that there was space last minute and then came back just in time for this retreat to start. We're here. That's the view. It's amazing. I already feel so calm. I'm walking back up to my room. I'm gonna be sleeping up there in one of those cabins, and I didn't expect that, so that's a nice surprise. I thought I would sleep on a mat on the floor. So it's a tent with your own bathroom and your own balcony, which is beautiful, and a bed, and a roommate. We're gonna talk all we can today because the rest of the time we're gonna be living together in silence. We were doing the Tibetan Buddhist practice Nyung Ne. It's a 2.5-day fasting cycle. People do it for different amounts of time. Our whole retreat would be 5 days. That involves strict vows, silence, prayer, and fasting, including a dry fast from water for 24 hours. The object of this practice is to purify from negative karma and nurture compassion within yourself. I did not know much about Buddhism until this, and I just like jumped into this full disciplinary practice. Just because I liked Lama Dorje's vibes, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll try. As much as I am so excited, I don't have any concept of how I'm gonna feel, because a lot of the structures that I've had to keep myself either safe or distracted, including phones and social media, are gonna be gone. We just had dinner and I'm in the tent. I just wanted to show you the schedule. Tomorrow we wake up at 4 in the morning. This is everything we're doing. Day 1, day 2, day 3, and day 4. That's what I signed up for. After dinner tonight, we had a fire and set our intentions for this retreat, and my intention was to really fully come into self-compassion. I also gave the intention of earth healing through consciousness healing. This is the official time where I will not be using the phone anymore. Good night. Good night. Oh, that was really anticlimactic. Totally forgot there's another light. But anyways, each day at 4 in the morning, the bell would ring to wake us up, with the sky still full of stars. We would then walk through the jungle using flashlights to get to the meditation center, and prayer would begin by 5. Eventually, I was able to surrender to the experience, and it was like a dam broke inside of me. All of the stored emotions and thoughts I had been carrying began to pour out of me. Every time we had a spare moment outside of the meditation hut alone, I often burst into tears or needed to write something down in my journal that I had remembered from childhood. It was like wave after wave after wave of emotions just kept pouring out of me for days. I didn't know if I would be strong enough to feel everything that I was burying. But the irony of it all is, even when you're burying it, it's still there, influencing your life in so many ways. And after days of letting all of these emotions pour out of me, it felt like everything became more vivid. It was such a low stimulation environment that I became obsessed at looking at things. In the contrast of not having any distractions, life becomes so interesting. I became obsessed at looking at the flowers on the property. Nature just felt so alive. It felt like I was befriending the bamboo tree outside of my tent, and I would go visit it every time I had the chance. It felt like all the plants around me had consciousness, which sounds insane literally from the materialist worldview, but there are so many cultures around the whole world that never lost this worldview. They maintained this sense of connection with life around them. All the while we were coming in and out of fasting, and finally it was time to do the dry fast. At first I was okay, but then I ended up getting a splitting headache. That second night with no water was really difficult for me. I ended up having nightmares and hallucinations all throughout the night, and by the time we woke up the next morning, I remember I had a tea, and the first sip of tea that I had never felt so abundant in my entire life. Because what happens to the people that go without water, but it's not by choice? Now my body somatically understood what that meant, rather than just intellectualizing it. I felt so flooded with compassion for the world around me, so grateful for what I had, and so motivated also to make the world better. I think this practice was doing its job, because I'm not sure if I had ever felt so much compassion until that moment.
Hola, saludo. Hi, Trashidele. Yo soy Lama Dorje, un monje budismo tibetano. Estoy con Emily ya recién terminando un retiro maravilloso. Y todo nos es muy importante aprender las dharmas. ¿Por qué es importante Dharma? Porque Dharma hace nuestra vida significativa y feliz, y también despertar nuestro potencial y ayuda a todos los seres a salir de sufrimientos. Bendiciones.
Gracias, bendiciones?
Bendiciones, yeah.
Bendiciones. Unceremoniously, we're out of silence. These are some of the first words I've said in 5 days, and it feels amazing, but also weird. Like, I'm not used to expressing myself. Everyone had such an intense experience, and we all got to know each other just through silence. And then now was the first time we were really talking and getting to know each other. Everything was just wild, and now it's time to go. Like, I've got a ride that I need to catch pretty much right now. Hello. It's the day after the silent meditation retreat. I stayed the night with a new friend. This is gonna be my first sip of coffee for 5 days. I'm feeling really ungrounded right now. There's just a lot going on. As much as I feel a lot more clear on myself, my path, what I want, it was like opening up Pandora's box of my mind, and you just can't clear that all in 5 days. So I need to sit with myself, process everything that happened, and realize that I'm not going to heal all at once. And I'm still so excited to share all of the things I wrote in my journal very soon. Hi. This is Oriana from the retreat that we just went to. Hi. That was good. It's been about a week since the silent meditation retreat. Naturally, a lot came up. 31, 32, 33, 34 pages of journaling. It's editing Emily. If you've made it to this point in the video, thank you so much for watching. That's amazing. I learned so much from this process. Regardless of your beliefs, I really think meditation can change the world. I would love to hear more of your thoughts in the comments. Share your wisdom so we can grow together. Thank you so much for your presence, and have a wonderful day.